Hi, I'm Joanna Penn from Mystery Thriller TV, and today I'm interviewing Elizabeth Spann Craig, who's a mystery writer, also known as Riley Adams. Her latest book is Delicious and Suspicious.
Well, thanks so much for having me today, Joanna. I really appreciate it. And I was like, you've just been such a tremendous resource for writers that I'm happy to be part of it today.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm particularly interested when I was looking at your bio and your books and everything, was that you seem to be in this cozy mystery genre. Now, which was really interesting to me because, you know, most people read the hardcore crime fiction. Maybe you could just explain what the difference is and what type of thing you're writing.
Sure, I'd be happy to. A cozy mystery is basically it focuses on an amateur sleuth, and it focuses a lot also on the puzzle part of the mystery. So actually figuring out the crime. There's not forensics. You're not going to find a gory crime scene. The actual murder happens off stage. So there's not a lot of language. There's not a lot of overt violence. The focus is definitely on, I was going to say a small town, and it used to be that traditional mysteries or cozies were set in small towns, although now actually the big cities are getting a lot of attention for a setting for the mysteries as well. But a limited number of suspects, and everything ends up nice and always solved. But the sleuth is somebody that you would want to hang out with and just solve the mystery along with, and that's what a cozy is all about figuring out the puzzle.
I like that because you get a bit sick of these really graphic, you know, violent killings and then all the body parts and everything, you know. So you have this lovely, there's a lovely atmosphere, I think, around your books, which is refreshing. So you know, why did you choose to write mystery specifically? Do you love the genre?
I do. I just love mysteries. I've always been a huge mystery reader. For me, it's because I'm actually figuring out the novel along with the sleuth. I'm figuring out who did it. So it's almost interactive experience for me. I really feel like I'm part of the book. I'm right there. I'm the sleuth sidekick. I'm figuring it out along with them. Also, I think there's kind of almost an epic feel to it. It's good versus evil. It always has a happy ending, or at least most of the time. Most mysteries are going to be tied up pretty neatly. And I'm a pretty type A person, actually, so seeing all the loose ends tied up is just very satisfying to me. It's just a very tidy process.
Yeah, no, I was reading a mystery lately and I was really amazed at how the clues all get set up and, you know, all work together. Do you have to work really a lot backwards, I guess, you know, work the clues back into the earlier part and do lots of multiple drafts? Is that the process?
It is for me. I think the clues are the hardest part for me for a mystery, and the red herrings. And so basically what I'm trying to do is come up with a whole bunch of possible clues for the end of the story. Also, I'm one of those people who makes it up as I go along, so I don't work from an outline usually unless I'm asked to by an editor. And so for me, I don't even know who the killer is until the end of the book, until I've written it. I make sure that all of the suspects could equally have done it. And that makes it more fun for the reader too. And so I really don't even know what the red herrings are or the clues are until after the book is over with and the killer's been decided. But you're right, it is kind of a process. You have to go back and make sure the clues are in the right place. And also you have to be very careful, I think, to hide the clues well, so that you're pointing them out to the reader and being fair, but making sure that it's not like a neon sign saying, who's the clue?
Yeah.
You want it to be able to be a puzzle still.
Yeah, no, that's great. So is it harder now with mystery because there's so much on TV? I mean, it's a lot of forensics, I guess, on TV, but people are so used to these type of genres in a visual format. Are people more not intelligent, but do they get it quicker? Do you have to make it harder these days?
I think that these days it's true that the readers are very savvy. I think that they are fully expecting to partner with the sleuth in the book. That's their whole idea. They're going to go in and they want to solve it alongside. So if you give away who the killer is at the first part of the book, you've just killed it for the reader. So I think you have to be very careful to make sure that you're playing fair, but you are concealing the clues. But basically, it is still the same skill set that Agatha Christie would have had when she wrote her books. She just wanted to write a very clean mystery with strong characters, but to make sure that the reader could follow along as well. So it's still kind of the same, but you're right. I mean, especially I think for someone writing thrillers, They have to be so careful with the forensic side of it and make sure their research is just so good and so complete, because half the time I think the readers know more than the mystery writers, unless they've really done their research. Because they're watching CSI and they're watching Law and Order and all of those shows. And I think it's pretty accurate depiction from what I've been able to tell of forensics and police procedure too.
No, fantastic. So for writers that are considering writing mystery, what are your tips for doing that?
I would say start off first of all with a great top-notch sleuth, somebody that just leaps off the page. I don't really like sleuths that are too perfect. That just kind of annoys me because I'm flawed, and I like to see other people that are flawed too. So I like to see sleuths that have a little depth or dimension to them and make mistakes, but aren't making too many mistakes. They need to be gifted amateurs if you're writing a cozy mystery, and make sure that they're able to solve the mystery. Also, I like the secondary characters to be strong and distinctive from each other. I think that's important. I'm a fan of sidekicks. I love Watson, and I just love Captain Hastings for Agatha Christie's books. I think it's important for a sleuth to have someone to use as a sounding board. So that way there's not these long internal monologues that the sleuth is having, which tend to get kind of boring. I'm a big fan of dialogue. So if you've got a sidekick, then you've got a sleuth who can bounce ideas off the sidekick instead of having these long, I wonder who did it discussions with himself, and the pros and cons of each person who would have done it. Also, I would say make sure that the red herrings are in the plot. In other words, the little distractions. So the reader thinks, oh, this person might have done it for this reason, but don't take the red herring so far out that it gets frustrating for the reader. Like you go half the book out with this false lead, and then you find out it fizzles out, and that's a little disappointing and frustrating for a reader. So have the red herrings, but don't have them just go to extremes. And definitely a book, like I mentioned before, should play fair with the reader, and they should have all the clues up front. There's no way a mystery could be published these days with like the evil twin who shows up at the end of the book, or a character who is the murderer who got introduced the last third of the book. It needs to be really fair with the reader.
No, those are good. And how about setting? Is setting really important, particularly in yours? You said it's set in this specific town. Does the setting itself play have clues or give atmosphere, I guess?
The setting can be very important, especially with cozy mysteries. There's frequently, with a small town setting, you get a feeling of isolation a little bit. So that helps with limiting, obviously, the number of suspects, which is another important thing to consider when you're writing a mystery novel. You don't want to have too many suspects, and you don't want to have too few. You want it to have the element of surprise in there, but you don't want to have so many suspects that you wonder who the person is at the end of the book who killed it. But I would say definitely setting also with thrillers. I love to see a big town or a huge city setting for a thriller. Kind of adds to the fast-paced environment, ticking clock with a thriller. So the setting can be important, especially depending on which genre of mystery that you're focusing on.
So what's coming up for you? What's going on? What's your next book coming out? And where can people find you online?
Yes, I have Finger Lickin' Dead is the next book in the Memphis Barbecue series under my name, Riley Adams, and that is coming out June 7th. The third book in the Memphis Barbecue series is going to be coming out in November, as yet unnamed. We're working on a name for that. I'm on Twitter, Elizabeth S. Craig, and I've got a blog, Mystery Writing is Murder, at blogspot.com. And I have a new series coming along too. I'm not quite ready to talk about it yet, but I'm excited about it. It's a 3-book series with Penguin Books.
Wow, lots happening in your world.
There's a lot going on.
There is. Well, thanks ever so much for your time, Elizabeth. That was great.
Thank you so much, Joanna. I really appreciate your getting in contact with me and having this wonderful interview. Thank you.